4 years later, and my TEDx talk is now just going viral in 2026. Very, very interesting, right? But there's a few different things that I want to touch on in this video, and I wanted to do a recap to kind of talk about where I am now, where I was then when I gave this talk 4 years ago, and the relevance of that subject matter today. Now, that TEDx talk that I gave 4 years ago, it was actually, here's the thing. It was posted by TED 3 years ago. I gave the talk 4 years ago at TEDx Whiting. And I remember wrestling with the subject matter of what I was going to share. Because at the time, I was speaking full time. I'm traveling the country, doing all of these different things. I'm working with high schools, I'm working with colleges, a few corporations, very small, but definitely high schools and colleges all around the country on mental health, right? Emotional wellness. I'm working with their student bodies. I'm working with staff members. I'm working with the parent organizations. So my thought was when I booked this TEDx talk, because I had been searching for one to do, my thought was to leverage the platform. So when it came to the subject matter, I'm like, yo, what can I say that allows me to leverage the platform to expand my business? I got to be honest, that was my thinking, that was my rationale. And the theme of our TEDx, which was TEDx Whiting, was emotional fluency. And there was more to the title, I don't recall right now, but it was emotional fluency at like the crux of it all. And I started to dive deeper into this language, into this subject matter of emotional fluency, which is really being able to understand and express your emotions without harming you or anyone else. So I'm learning this at the same time as I'm thinking about what am I going to speak about. And I remember having this wrestle. I'm putting out different subjects and different topics, and nothing's really resonating with me at the time at all. Like nothing's resonating with me. And I'm trying all different types of angles so I can take this into the school, so I can leverage and show that I'm a professional and an expert in this. And I remember sitting thinking about what was I going to share on this global platform. Like this is my one shot to share something. This is my opportunity to put this out to the masses. How are you going to use this for good? And prior to the TEDx talk, I had wrote a book which became an Amazon bestseller called I Love You, Letters of Love from Black Men to Black Boys. And I wrote this book prior to George Floyd being murdered. It was wild. I had wrote this book at a time where I felt like as a black man, this is what I would have wanted to have or give my son had I had one at the time if he was a black boy. And what I did was I developed this book, I Love You, Letters of Love, Letters of Love from Black Men to Black Boys. And I compiled myself along with 12 other black men that I knew personally that were doing professional work, that were educators, and the medical spaces, entrepreneurs, and real estate. And I brought them all into this book and we created this product and we put it out and it did incredible. It reached so many people all across this world. It was beautiful. So I thought back to that book. I said, this is something that has substance. This is something that needs to be heard. And black boys need to know that they're valued, they're seen, they're loved, but also they need to gain these tools, not just for survival, but to thrive. And then it hit me, boom, emotional fluency, the language black boys aren't taught. And I was a black boy who wasn't taught that either. I had to learn through trial and error. I had to learn through my traumas and my experiences, but I now had that wisdom to go ahead and impart it onto someone else. And I had to ask myself, was I using this platform just to gain leverage, or was I going to use it to help as many people as possible with this message of hope in a matter of, I think TEDx talks like 10 to 15 minutes max, right? And that was one of the shortest speeches I ever gave too. I'm used to 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. They said, yo, you got about 12 minutes. I said, whew. Now, here's the thing. The TEDx curator, when I came up with my subject matter, she loved it so much that she actually gave me additional time. So praise God. Shout out to her. Truly grateful for that. But taking you back to when I gave that talk about 4 years ago, and sitting on why I gave that talk and where I was mentally and emotionally at the time, I was an up and coming speaker and I just really wanted to get out there. That was my motive. It was, yo, let me leverage this platform, not maliciously, but how can I be a professional about this and use this to elevate my expertise, even with that subject matter, right? And at the time, I'm, going to therapy. I'm dealing with some past trauma in my life that was really heavy at the time that I didn't know I had. We're talking parent wounds. We're talking traumatic experiences starting to uproot themselves and come to the top. And it was just like, man, I'm literally learning this language at the same time as I'm teaching this thing. I'm literally learning and applying at the same time. Like, it was real time. When I was up there giving that, I was literally working through some things in those moments prior to me getting on that stage. So it was very authentic for what it was, but I'm definitely not in the place that I'm in now to where it's like, okay, I see it for what it is, and the notoriety that it's getting now, I know how to handle it. And not for nothing, this is the perfect time in life for me to have gained this. So 4 years ago, that's where I was, right? I didn't have a son at the time. I was speaking and traveling a lot. I'm not even sure. I believe we just got married. Me and my wife had just got married when I gave that talk. Or it might have been, I'm sorry, it might have been prior to us getting married when I gave that talk. So wasn't even married, didn't have a son, and wasn't coaching men to the capacity that I am now. Right now, I'm the executive director over a global men's ministry. I'm coaching men literally daily. My messages are hyper focused on men and boys. I've developed so much around that. I've gained so much more wisdom. I went back to school. At that time, I think I only had my bachelor's degree in liberal studies with a focus on sociology and health. And now I went back to school, got a master's in pastoral care and counseling. So a lot has happened. I've grown as a communicator. I cut my locks. A lot has transpired since then. So now, fast forward, we're talking 4 years later. I am now a father. I've been through, the deep grief of losing a child. I've grown in my capacity to serve and communicate. And I've stripped myself of some of the societal wants and needs. Like for me, back then, I got to be honest, I wanted the likes, I wanted the followers, I wanted the views, I wanted the attention. And I'm not saying any of those things are inherently bad, but it's definitely not a focus point for me anymore. I care much more about the impact that I'm being allowed to make, that God allows me to make with my voice, with my words, with my writing, with every gift He's given me. The focus is, how can I impact the most people? How can I see people as even more important than myself so I can serve them at the highest level? And here's the interesting part too. This comes on the tail end, like the virality of this TEDx talk. It comes on this perfect timing, because this was when I decided my yearly summit, Get to Worthy, that we would have a theme this year, which is Heal the Man, Heal the Family. And I just decided that back in like December. And then the TEDx talk skyrockets from under 100,000 views. Actually, it was like way lower than that, to, okay, we just cracked 100,000. What? That was weird. Wow, I wasn't even promoting it like that. It was laying dormant for the last 3 years or so when Ted put it up. To now it's going up 120,000, 140,000, 150,000. This stuff is happening in a matter of days. To now we're on February, what's today, the 25th? And we're looking at, last I checked this morning, it was at 252,000 views. And I don't even know how many comments, but a lot of comments. And I've tried to reply to them all and just tell people thank you for investing the time to watch, because I don't take those things for granted whatsoever. But I'm in such a more grounded position. Like I said, I'm working with men daily. I now am a father. I have a son who I can literally teach these things to, that I was talking about in that video. And my focus has been, for going on about the last year and a half, has been, how do we build up more men? How do we empower more boys? How do we focus on our mental and emotional wellness? Because it seems like, for me personally, and this is just me, it seems like men's mental health is only prioritized after a tragedy. When someone unalives themselves, goes through this dark pit, Now it is, oh my gosh, men matter. Men's mental health matter. We got to check on each other. We got to check on our brothers. We got to create safe spaces. But when everything seemingly is fine, there doesn't seem to be a lot of conversation around men's mental and emotional wellness, especially as it pertains to us developing this language of emotional fluency. It just, to me, I could be tripping. I may not see it, but it's not nearly as heightened as it is after a tragedy. And for me, that is a tragedy. For me, that's where I need to step in and step up the most. So that's the work I've been doing the last few years. That's the work I've been focused on. So when God blew on this talk and it skyrocketed this January, it was like, oh, the timing's right. The wind is right. The soil is perfect for this, Nate. Not because you did anything special, but since you gave this talk over the last few years, you've been working on you, and now you're ready to steward everything that comes with this, whether that's influence, whether that's more opportunities, whatever it may be. You're in a much better space mentally and emotionally. You have the education, you've grown deeper in your understanding of this subject matter. And ultimately, you're a more grounded man that can resonate and relate to other people who are trying to navigate these challenges, who are dealing with these mental health issues, who are feeling like, man, I'm going through life alone, who are dealing with grief, with the young boy who emotionally is all over the place and he can't make decisions without them being emotional. You've been there. You now understand. You have experience. You've been resilient enough, Nate, to grow through this. So now you're in a position right now for me to elevate this, elevate you, so you can help the most people possible. So I'm excited. And last thing I'll say is this in regards to the timing. Having a son is beautiful. It is beautiful because this is something that he can be proud of. Again, this was created before he existed, before he was really even a thought. This talk was created. The book I wrote was created. He can now go back and look at these things that his father created really for him. And he can be proud of it. And for me, that's what's really encouraging in all of this. The comments are great, they're incredible. But this is no longer just a talk, no longer just a TEDx talk. It's a timestamp for my son. And if he ever wonders what his father stood for, what his father cared about, all he got to do is press play. That's all he got to do is press play. So, man, I am grateful for this. It's interesting because, like I said, this talk lay dormant for 3 years when it was posted, right? And it didn't explode immediately like I thought it would. It reached who it reached at the time. I thought that it was going to reach a lot more. And I kind of just, wiped my hands clean, walked away from it and said, wow, I got a TEDx talk. Praise God. But man, timing is everything. And God definitely knows the right time to elevate a thing when you become the person that can steward that thing. So I'm grateful for all the new viewers, the people who've DM'd me. Man, it's a list of people from athletes to celebrities to musicians. This has landed me more opportunities. I recently just came back from Saskatchewan, Canada, out there working with the Kakawistaha First Nation and their young people. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for what's next. And I'm excited to continue to do this work because we need it, man. I got boys. I'm a black man in the house with black boys. I have to teach them this language. So this is more than just a talk. This isn't about views. This isn't about going viral. This is about teaching the language of emotional fluency. Teaching that true control, true power is being able to control how you respond and how you react. That the power is really being able to feel and embrace your emotions without succumbing to your emotions. And I get to do that. I'm blessed to do that. and I have a TEDx talk that speaks about that. So I appreciate y'all. Continue to watch, continue to share. You never know who needs this. This is about growth. This is about alignment. This is about legacy. And my hope is that this encourages you to do the thing that God has placed on your heart. Because at the right time, it will reach and do what it's supposed to do. It will reach who it needs to reach, and it will do what it's supposed to do. But you got to be obedient in the moment. I could have did this talk on anything. But the fact that I did it on this subject matter at the time that I did it, yeah, that's divine. That's divine. And at the time, I was looking to get something out of it. And I'm glad God didn't give me that. Because it might have ruined me a few years ago. It might have went to my head. It might have went to my ego. And I would have been prideful. Yeah, I gave this dope talk. But he let it lie dormant so I can strip all of that out of me. And work on my own emotional fluency. At a time in a climate in the world where we need it now more than ever. Where racial tension still high. Countries still wilding out. Men and boys are unaliving themselves at alarming rates. Nate, the timing is right. And I hope that is encouraging to you so you can be obedient and do the thing that God's calling you to do. So make sure y'all watch the TEDx talk, man. Until next time, peace.